Hello there, a very good evening to you and a very warm welcome to this exclusive segment conducted by Rupavahini. Now, we are here to discuss a topic that is of vital importance to the lifestyles of humans around the world. Now, there are current social trends that have harmful consequences. Now, the main aim of today is to discuss on how we can provide effective measures to counter these harmful consequences. Now, I am very privileged and very honored to have with us here today two very distinguished guests. So let me warmly welcome Reverend Dr. Basnagoda Rahula Thero, who is a professor of English at the Lone Star College, Montgomery. He's also the author of books that incorporate Buddhist lifestyle, Buddhism, the Buddhism philosophies into how you can live a good lifestyle. And he's also the president of the Houston Buddhist Vihara. Then let me also extend a very warm welcome to Professor Tony Fuller, who is a professor in communication at the Lone Star College, Montgomery, and several other major colleges. Now, Professor Tony Fuller holds a PhD in political science and an MA in communication, and he also has an extensive background in media. But he also has a very long interest in lifestyles and how you can incorporate a healthy lifestyle. So without further ado, let us get started. And Reverend Thero, let me ask you, how does Buddhism philosophy, how does the teachings of Buddhism connect to a good lifestyle, good eating habits?
Right. Yes, Nitya, that's a very, very interesting and very much relevant question. A lot of health problems that we find in today's society, we did not have during the Buddha's time. But Buddha addressed the healthy eating in a way that that was appropriate to that society. For instance, the rich people maybe during the Buddha's time, they ate a lot and they gained weight, and they were obese and overweight. So Buddha addressed that issue. So on one occasion, Buddha said, look at me, I eat only one meal a day, and I'm very healthy and I'm very strong. You also eat one meal a day and be healthy and strong. So in that way, Buddha talked about calorie restriction, and now a lot of research have been done in the field of calorie restriction and healthy life. So scientists now say that people live a long life and they postpone aging and age-related diseases if they eat in a controlled way. And so this is one of the things that Buddha addressed. So this healthy eating is a very, very important topic in the Buddha's teaching, and Buddha has talked about that.
Okay, that was very insightful. Professor, now let me ask you. Thero mentioned about how Buddhism incorporated its philosophies into a healthy lifestyle. What is the Western concept on this? What is the Western world currently engaging in the context of healthy lifestyles and healthy eating? What are the popular trends?
That's a huge question, and in the United States, there's a lot of debate about that. So if you go from California, which I just visited 2 weeks ago, you have many people that are very interested in eating healthy.
Yes.
And other parts of the United States, people eat what they want and it's not so healthy, and there's a conflict between these two ideas. And so the new trends, always, I think it is just growing knowledge, the need for more knowledge about how to eat healthy. And it is important to eat healthy because, as my good friend and colleague has stated, by being aware of what we eat, we will have a better lifestyle and live longer.
Yes. So on that note, let me also ask you, what are the current unhealthy lifestyle and eating habits?
Well, how long do we have? I could construct a list of 100 items. In the United States, for example, and many other parts of the world, we have a fast food culture. We just want things now. We want things as fast and as frequent as possible. And fast food is not food that it's processed food. It has a lot of additives in it, and is food that is not the best for our bodies. And when we eat, how we eat it, how much we eat is all very important in having a healthy lifestyle. And so when you have the New York City pass a law that you cannot sell a soda drink larger than 32 ounces because it's seen as a health risk to the public, that tells you some parts of our society are very interested in constructing a healthy eating environment, but others, okay, I'll just buy two 32-ounce Cokes. Okay.
Sure, yes. So Reverend Thero, would you like to elaborate on the rising health issues caused by these unhealthy eating lifestyle habits?
Right, rising, there are so many issues. They are both related to physical well-being as well as mental well-being. And the additives, for instance, as my best friend Tony mentioned about additives, these additives can be food flavors, artificial flavors, chemicals, and flavors and preservatives, and also food color, and also growth hormone. So these things are very, very dangerous. You know, some of these colors and flavors are produced from petroleum. So our bodies have never digested all these kind of things. So when we eat them, the body reacts in a very, very different way. For instance, body cannot absorb them, so that body rejects it. Then you get allergy, headaches, asthma, and also diabetes, obesity, brain damage. Some children cannot concentrate. Okay, they cannot sit properly. They have hyper. These are related to these artificial food additives, particularly food color and flavors. Therefore, all this junk food create numerous health issues, from organ failure, from allergy, from brain problems, and numerous kind of health issues.
That was very insightful. Now, Professor, let me ask you a question on how, now the Reverend Thero mentioned on all the harmful effects of these mass-produced, let's say, genetically engineered food and all of that. Why is it still being produced? Why aren't people taking a measure against this? How is it still such a huge part of our world?
Well, it's a great question, and much of what we do as human beings is we want to have control over our environment. And many people say, I like the way this tastes. I'm going to eat it, drink it, and because it tastes good. And they're not thinking about the negative consequences of not eating healthy. In fact, there was a documentary 5 or 10 years ago that was stating that someone just stayed on a fast food diet. That's all they ate for 30 days, and their health significantly deteriorated.
Right.
Yes. So let me also ask you on what the U.S. is currently doing in this regard. Has it taken any form of measure by using federal policies or any changes that it's currently implementing?
Well, the FDA, the Federal Drug Administration, is a major agency in the United States, and they've been in existence since the early 1900s. And they are supposed to regulate what goes into products, and there's many complaints that they take too long to regulate it. But I think that it has to start from a grassroots level, which people in Southern California, for example, are very interested in eating vegan and eating healthy. And so it's got to start there, because you can only legislate so much. If you try to over-legislate, you've got a backlash of people saying, no, I want this, it's my right to eat this, even if it's not healthy for me. So.
Yes, that was a very good answer. Now, Reverend Thero, let me ask you now, the professor just elaborated on what the Western side of the world is doing against this rising issue. What is Sri Lanka currently doing at the moment, or what is it that we have to look into to take steps to make a better difference in our side of the world?
Yes, I have heard that the government is taking steps to help people eat healthy food. That's a very, very good trend. So we have to make this trend very strong, and we need to make people aware of that. So the main problem lies here in the way that people do not understand the adverse effects of eating all this junk food and the food with chemicals, right? So that the best thing is people needs to be aware of that. A kind of an education for this program is beneficial in that way. At the same time, the right message should be conveyed to the people by knowledgeable people, including the government and the monks and doctors and educated people. They have to convey that these kinds of foods are not healthy. They are not, it can satisfy your taste, of course. It's convenient, it's cost effective, but in the long term, it is not an investment. If you eat healthy food, that in the long term, it's an investment. You know, a lot of people go bankrupt because they are sick, okay? We need to convey that correct message to the community.
Reverend Thero, let me ask you what Sri Lankans can do in the smallest level of, making a difference in their homes.
Right. So, yes, instead of buying and eating all this junk food, okay, they have to come to a resolution, right? So, instead of pointing the finger at others, so you are responsible for my health issues, right? The Buddha always said that you have to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility. There is a problem here, so I have identified problems. I have to take steps to correct that problem. So in that way, I think one of the best choices is for people to grow their vegetable and fruit. You know, Sri Lanka, so whenever I come here, and always I think that Sri Lanka is a very blessed country because of this soil. You know, in the United States, I have a garden, so I have to put organic fertilizer. But here, I have seen, you see all these trees, fruit trees and vegetable, they grow. You just put a seed, they grow. So take advantage of this opportunity. You start growing your vegetables, your fruit in your backyard. So once you do that, it becomes a hobby and you enjoy this. You are promoting life. When these trees, plants grow, you enjoy it. So that is one of the options that you can do to promote your own health issues, health problems that come from all this bad eating. And the other thing is that you have to stay away from some dangerous kind of food, like the food with a soft skin, like grapes. Okay, if all these chemicals are added to them, you know, grapes and tomatoes, they have soft skin, so the producers can spray a lot of chemicals, at least 15 chemicals when they come to your kitchen, right? So that stay away from them and start eating homemade things, or the things with a rough skin, like bananas, right? They are conventionally grown, but they are not harmful. So these are some of the steps. This is a topic that we need time to discuss, but briefly, these are some of the steps that will help you prevent all these some of these health issues coming from eating unhealthy food.
Yes. So now let me ask the professor on that context. What are your ideas on home gardening, and how is home gardening, a growing trend in the United States at the moment as well?
Unfortunately, I don't think that home gardening in the United States is a growing trend. I think that awareness of food, healthy food is, and we tend to think of it in terms of organic. Yes. We use the word organic food, which means that someone has taken some personalized care in how they grow the food. So that has increased, and one of the big debates in the United States is, okay, I can buy this tomato for this per pound, but the organic is going to be more expensive. So people haven't quite reconciled that, is my health worth $1 more per pound? And so that's a discussion, and I think that by education that will continue to grow. So I don't, right now I would say that no, we're not moving towards personalized gardening, even though it would clearly be healthier.
So I think that brings us back to the Thero's suggestion on Sri Lankans doing home gardening, because I would say that, as you mentioned, we are also blessed with a very beautiful and very healthy form of soil.
Right,
yes.
Right, that's right.
So let me also ask you, Professor, on although it's wrong and although it's bad, people keep going back to eating unhealthy. Why do you think this is? Yes, the masses, they're being produced in masses, but the people are aware that this is bad, and yet they keep going back to it. Do you have any form of idea on why this is? Because there are lots of harmful effects caused by this.
Yes. Well, the word convenience is thrown around by many people. That clearly is one. And also, one of the most underrated elements in any good or bad habit is a habit. And so I think that people start, okay, I didn't get to have breakfast, so I'm going to stop and grab a quick lunch. And they get that lunch. Okay, who can give me lunch in 15 minutes? Oh, I have to stop at a fast food place. And you get that, and so your body is saying, hey, but I should have eaten 4 or 5 hours ago, and I should have eaten something healthy, but now I feel full. And so the clock is ticking. You start doing that, and all of a sudden you've developed a habit of not eating breakfast, and then you go to fast food place. It is less expensive and it's quick, it's convenient in our ever increasing pace society. But it can be quite detrimental to your person. One of the aspects about food that is a little understated has to do with how often we eat and when we eat. And we sort of know from the children's rhymes of, okay, well, you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but many people don't. Breakfast, if you eat breakfast, there was a study conducted many years ago with a small number of people, but there were 3 groups. The first group, they were all men. The first group ate 2,000 calories for breakfast. The second group of men ate 2,000 calories throughout the day, and the third group ate 2,000 calories for dinner. That's all they ate. The result was the first group that ate it in breakfast lost weight. The second group mostly lost weight, but they basically stayed the same. The third group that ate the same number of calories gained weight. And that means that the body is not processing it properly. So eat early and through the day and keep your body going efficiently.
Yes, thank you, Professor. Reverend Thero, let me ask you, what are your ideas on what the government is currently doing to battle this issue of unhealthy eating?
Right, so they are promoting I believe the government is promoting the idea that is healthy, and yes, that's a very, very effective step, of course, and awareness, knowledge, right? Knowledge and awareness is very important so that people will understand that, and through the media, this knowledge should be further, you make things strong by promoting through media, through schools, and students and teachers should know these things very well, and also monks should convey this message to the society. So in that way, we have to promote this healthy eating and negative consequences and benefits of healthy eating. So we have to promote, and we have to do these things in a stronger way in future.
Yes, Thero, let me also ask, Sri Lanka is currently facing a major, massive problem on garbage disposal. So what can we all as individuals do in the context of our homes?
Right, so we can of course incorporate this garbage into our cultivation of our vegetables or even fruit. For instance, I don't recommend that we use all the garbage. For instance, some rotten food and fruit and other food items may have some bacteria and some diseases, so which may not be beneficial to the plants, but you can use leaves, branches, and these things you can keep them at home for some time, and you can keep them in plastic bags, and you can use them when you grow your vegetables. So in that way, a certain amount, a certain portion of your garbage can be used to cultivate your vegetables. Not all of them, but some of them. So in that way, we can, if if not, if not we can get rid of this garbage problem completely, at least we can reduce this garbage problem by using these things in your cultivation of vegetables in your backyard or front yard or in your at home.
Yes, thank you very much, Reverend Thero. Now, Professor, let me ask you, what is the contrast between food consumption in the West and the Asian region?
Well, I think in Asia, in my travels to Hong Kong, to Japan, to India, and here, I think people are more conscious of food than the West, especially the U.S., because the U.S. is very consumer driven, which has its ups and downs, but we tend to not think about tomorrow, and I think that most of the other countries, the Far East and the subcontinent and Sri Lanka, are more conscious of eating healthy. And
yes. Also, Reverend Thero, let me ask you on that note, now the professor spoke of conscious eating. What were the Buddhist philosophies on this concept of healthy lifestyles and conscious eating?
Yes, another important topic the Buddha talked about is conscious, that's called mindful eating. A few days ago I saw a research. Right? So if you want to lose weight, you eat mindfully. Eat mindfully means you must be mindful. To monks, for instance, okay, we have to concentrate on our eating when we eat. Okay, then we eat slowly, and we digest well, and we do not overeat. The same thing can be practiced by the lay community. So some research have shown that has been effective for people to lose weight. Therefore, so as lay people, you also can follow that, eat mindfully. So that helps you control eating and slow eating, which helps you digest your food, and in that way achieve some healthy benefits of eating.
So, Professor, let me ask you, last but not the least, you've had a long-term interest on healthy lifestyles and conscious eating. What is your advice that you can give to Sri Lankans?
well, keep eating what you're eating, and don't go to over-processed food. And I would say it doesn't mean that you cannot eat something that you know you shouldn't eat, but go ahead, because it's about a balance. If you have 1 or 2 meals or 1 day a week, in the U.S. they call it a pig out day, where you eat anything you want, but the rest of the week you eat healthy. And that's okay. It's when you go over that line and you have too much of food that's unhealthy for you that the problem exists. If you look at the nations in the world that are most obese, the U.S. ranks right up there. And there are other reasons for that, but one of those has to do with the diet and the unhealthy diet that we eat because we're not conscious of it. So I would say eat healthy, try to get exercise, and be well.
Very insightful, very constructive advice. Reverend Thero, now we are nearing the end of this discussion, but let me ask you, what is your message to the people?
Yes. My message is that, we say, if somebody asks you a question, whom do you love most? Most of you would say, my parents, my spouse, or my children, like that. But you must know, of course, most of you know that there is another person whom you love most. That person you cannot search by pointing your forefinger, rather you can find that person by pointing your thumb, this person. So I am the most important and loving person to myself. So once you understand I am the most important person to myself, you understand I means my body, my mind, my physical well-being, and my mental well-being. If you take care of your physical well-being and your mental well-being, you can take care of others and other things and other people. Therefore, your priority should be to take care of your physical well-being and mental well-being. And most of our mental and physical problems, if not all, at least some of them, are caused by unhealthy eating. So that eat wisely, and enjoy long-term health benefits, benefits of your physical well-being and mental well-being. That could be my message to you.
So on that note, we come to the end of this very valuable discussion. Now, before we end, let me take this opportunity to thank Reverend Dr. Basnagoda Rahula Thero and also Professor Tony Fuller for taking the time to be with us here today, to give us all and to educate us all on how to live this valuable blessing of life to its fullest. So remember that you can be the change that you want to see in this world. So thank you very much for joining us and have yourselves a very good evening.